this video we're going to have a closer look at the VicoVation WF1 smart dash camera. This camera features 1080p video recording, Wi-Fi, lane departure system and an email warning system. So first of all, let's have a quick look at what you get. You get a 4-meter long car charger with an LED and a right angle mini USB plug, a USB to mini USB data cable, an adhesive ball head mount, and a windscreen suction mount with ball head. You also get a spare 3M sticky pad. Also in the box is the warranty card, the installation guide, and a full colour glossy instruction manual. The camera is a slightly different shape than some other dash cameras that you can find, but it's nice and compact. At the front, this lens gives a 160-degree angle of view. On the side, we have the mini USB power input and an HDMI out. On the back, we have the slot for the micro SD card. This takes up to 32GB cards with a recommended minimum of 8GB class 10. There's no card included with the package. On the bottom, we have one large button ringed with LEDs. On the top is the mounting lug for the ball head mounts. Also on the bottom we have the speaker and the microphone, and we have some cooling vents on either side and also on the bottom. The only button on the camera is this one here at the bottom. This is the emergency record button, and it also turns on and off the lane departure warning system, which I'll talk about more later. The Vico WF-1 records in H.264 and MP4 formats. Default setting is 1080p 1920 by 1080 at 30 frames a second, and it also can do 720 at 30 frames a second or 720 at 60 frames per second. All of the settings on the Vico WF-1 are set up using the Wi-Fi network. For this you'll need an iPhone or an Android phone. You can see in the settings here on my iPhone it comes up as Vico WF1. Once that's connected, we can start up the VicoVation app.
Connected. Recording disabled.
When the app is connected, the camera stops recording, so you cannot leave the Wi-Fi continuously running, otherwise the camera won't record. Let's have a closer look at some of the features in the VicoVation app. So this is the main screen, and we have 4 icons down the bottom: Home, Live, My Videos and Settings. We're going to have a look in the Settings menu now, and this brings up all of the different settings that can be adjusted on the camera. So the first one at the top is Camera Settings. Here we can change the video mode from 1080-30 to 720-60 or 720-30. Also, we can change the exposure to a value of -1 up to +1.5. And also we have the night enhance mode, low, standard or high. I'll talk a bit more about that later and show you some video samples. Next we have system settings. Here we can tell the camera to get the time from the phone, or we can set the time manually. We can start automatic recording. You can enable the microphone. You can have the voice volume mute, low, medium or high. We can have the LED on silent mode. What this does is it stops the main big LED on the button from flashing. It actually just stays solid and dims slightly. We can turn the video text overlay on or off. And we can change the Vico tag, which again I'll show you later, but this is basically just a small label that is shown on the video footage. We can also change the Wi-Fi SSID, the Wi-Fi key and the Wi-Fi channel, and we can format the SD card and return everything to default. Next up we have the G sensor settings. We can turn this on or off, and we can also change the sensitivity. What this does is if the camera detects a certain amount of G-force, it will actually automatically label that clip as an emergency clip, and it will save it and will not overwrite it. Otherwise the footage just continually overwrites itself. By default this is off, and you have to manually press the big main button on the camera to record an emergency clip. The total number of emergency files is 15. After 15 files have been saved, there'll be no further emergency recording. so make sure that you don't fill that up. The emergency clips are of 1 minute in length. That's 30 seconds before and 30 seconds after the event is made. Next, we have alert email settings. What this can do is it will forward an email to the address that you input when a manual emergency or G-sensor emergency event is triggered. So if you manually press the button, or if you've got crash detect on and it detects a G-force impact, it will send an email to the address that you input. Before you activate this, make sure you read the manual carefully, because it does actually change slightly how the camera works. I won't go into that now, but if you buy one of these, then just make sure you read that section of the manual clearly so you know exactly what is going on. Next, we have the LDWS settings. Now, this is actually one of the unique features of this camera. This is a lane departure warning system. It's actually a very clever system, this. Once it's enabled and calibrated, you can see that 2 lines come up on the screen. Now, obviously I'm inside, so I can't properly show you this. But if the camera was mounted on my car and pointing outside, I would line this green bar up with the horizon, and I would line this bottom line up with the end of my car's bonnet or hood. I would then click done. Now, every time I go over a set of white lines on a road, the camera will alert me, and I can either have that alert as a voice or as a tone, or I can turn it off. I can also change the sensitivity from high, medium and low. On medium sensitivity, I find this actually works really quite well. However, if you're driving around in the city and you're doing lots of lane swaps, it's probably best to turn this off. This is only really meant for when doing long motorway journeys or highway journeys, and there's a chance that you might sort of drift off and cross over a line. I found that when swapping lanes, it actually does alert me every time I cross over the white lines, and sometimes also if there's been roadworks in the lane and there is a slight discoloration on the tarmac, it also seems to recognise that as a lane departure. Now, this is very good in a way that it's that sensitive, but does also flag up a lot of false readings. This feature can be turned on and off on the camera by holding and pressing the main button for about 2 to 3 seconds. Next, we have system information. This tells us the app version, the library version, whether the camera is calibrated, the model, how much room is left in the SD card, and the current firmware. Also in the app, we can access all the videos on the camera, and we can also save videos to the phone. We can play the videos back, and we can also share them directly from the phone to Facebook or YouTube. Please be aware that if you do this direct from the phone, the video quality is dramatically reduced. When sharing through YouTube, the footage will be uploaded as a 568 by 320 at 30 frames per second video. YouTube automatically converts this to 240 or 360p. Facebook keeps it at 568 by 320. If you upload on Android, the videos will be full 1080 due to the way that the file system works. The reason for this is just to speed up the upload time of the video clips. If you want to upload full resolution clips to YouTube, you'll have to copy the files directly off the camera card and then upload them that way. Of course, we also have live view, and you can see there the live view recording. The live view footage is not full quality. It's only a QVGA at 320 by 240 preview. This is not the same quality for recording. Obviously, recording would be whatever you set, either 1080 or 720. To save a clip to your phone, simply click on the video and you'll see save up in this top corner. Click on save, and that will then start to save that video clip to your phone. You'll see once you click save, the video will tell you that it's syncing and give you a percentage amount. It'll take a little while to sync due to the file sizes. Once it is finished, it will move into the phone video tab. You can cancel the sync by pressing the X. Once the video is synced, you'll get a message saying that it's been saved. You can then access the video into your phone video folder and play it back. The footage automatically tilts with the phone, and you can pause and go back. When the Wi-Fi is connected, you will see the main LED flashing like this. This means that the camera is not recording due to the Wi-Fi being connected. Once the Wi-Fi is disconnected, you'll hear this message.
Wi-Fi disconnected. Recording started.
Let's have a look at some of the footage now from the Vico WF-1. As you can see, this is a daylight clip heading into direct sun. Now there's a bit of flare on the footage, but that's to be expected. There's also some reflections from the camera being a little bit away from the windscreen. Apart from that, the footage is very clear. It's quite bumpy in this clip, purely because of the vehicle that I was in. It's nice and crisp and clear and sharp, and it also handles the different exposure values very well. Even in direct sunlight, the exposure is consistent. It doesn't tend to under or overexpose too much in any given area. You can also see that the Vico tag I was mentioned earlier down in the bottom left hand corner. You can see it says Vico tag 7, and then Photoics, which I inputted myself back on the phone settings, and you can put any tag that you want in there, either the vehicle name or your name or anything you want. So that's quite good to distinguish clips from different vehicles. This next clip is in a very sort of dull, overcast, rainy situation. Again, the exposure is really good. Everything is clear and sharp, and the colours are still quite good as well. You see from this footage, even with the windscreen wipers going across, it does not affect the exposure. It's very consistent. Again, a really good, clear bit of footage. If anything were to happen, I'd clearly be able to see any vehicles involved, as well as the number plates. In this clip, we're going to go from really bright sunlight into shade and then back into bright sun again. You can see there we've got the sun very bright, and we keep going behind the trees into the shade. As it goes into the shade, the exposure is still consistent. As we come out, the exposure is spot on. Really good quality exposure on this camera. You'll notice there's even still some blue in the sky, even in these bright parts. In these next few clips, I want to demonstrate the quality of the built-in microphone on the camera. So we'll switch over to the camera sound now and hear how it sounds. Okay, so I'm testing the audio recording on the VicoVation WF1. All the settings are as they came out of the box. It's all default, so hopefully you can hear me clearly enough. This isn't a particularly quiet car. I hope we've got an accident here. A bit too late to capture that one on camera, unfortunately. This isn't a particularly quiet car, so the noise that you might hear is probably more than you would on most other vehicles, so just bear that in mind. So as you heard there, the mic quality is actually quite good. As I said in the video clip, my car is very noisy and it was raining quite hard as well. But overall, for what you'd use a microphone for, I think it's fine. I'm going to do another clip now when I turn the heater on and the climate control on. So we'll switch back to the camera recording now. Also want to test the audio with the heater on. Quite often when you've got cameras connected to the windscreen, the heaters can really mess with the audio. So I've got my climate control set on, and we'll see what difference that makes. That's now with the defrost setting on, with all air going towards the windows. Noticeably louder in the cab, so we'll see how the camera copes with that. As you heard there, with the normal heater on, it wasn't too bad, but as soon as I put the demist setting on, most of the audio was drowned out by that due to all the air flowing up through the windscreen. Now I want to have a look at some nighttime footage, so we'll switch over to the nighttime view here. Now there's many different settings on this camera for different nighttime footage. There's the low, standard and high nighttime enhanced modes. This is actually on low at the moment, and as you can see it is very dark. This was a small road with just the street lamps lighting the way and my headlights. It's not too bad, but you can't see a great deal, and if there was to be an accident you probably wouldn't see very much unless it was directly in front of you. So now I'm going to switch over to the standard mode on the night enhance. This is the same stretch of road, again with just the street lights and my headlights. You can see a little bit more detail now, not a huge amount, but certainly in the where the headlights are it's a lot clearer, and slightly off to the sides. And now I'm going to switch to the high mode in the night enhance. You can see it's a lot clearer, same stretch of road again, just going the opposite way, but you can now see a lot more of the road on either side, and that's much clearer all round. Now we've got the night enhanced mode on high, but we're into an urban area with a lot more street lights. As you can see, it's actually really clear, really crisp, very good nighttime footage. You easily see everything around you can easily read the number plates. And again, the exposure is handled very well between the bright and the dark areas. Really quite impressive nighttime footage this, especially for a camera with such a small sensor in it. Next, I want to talk about the lane departure warning system. Again, to turn this on, just simply press the button.
Lane departure warning enabled.
Hold it for about 2 to 3 seconds.
Lane departure warning disabled.
And the same to turn it off. Okay, so on this clip I've got lane departure turned on, and in a minute I'm going to take a left-hand turn and cross over some white lines. So just watch this clip go along and then listen out for the warning mark, which is a tone noise. This is set to the tone, not the voice, and you'll see how it alerts you to a lane departure. Hear it there, the 3 beeps. It was actually very accurate. Just as I went over that white line, it beeped to alert me. So in that sense, it's a really good system and actually does work very well. Got another clip here with the lane departure. So as I overtake this lorry, I'll pull back into the left-hand lane and go over the white lines down the middle, and you'll hear the 3 beeps. There they are, so again, really accurate. Now watch this clip a bit further on, you'll see there's been roadworks at some point, and there's either white lines that have been painted out, or just a trench has been dug, and it false flagged an alert. And you heard that there. So it is very sensitive, but it does sometimes flag up false readings. But overall it's a system that works quite well, and I can imagine it being quite useful if you do a lot of long journeys on motorways or highways when you change lane a lot. So, in summary, the VicoVation WF1 is an excellent dash camera. Although it lacks some features of other models like GPS, it more than makes up for them in video quality and other unique systems like the lane departure warning system and the alert email system. Video quality is excellent both in daylight and in nighttime, especially with the night enhanced mode. In my view, this is one of the best video quality dash cameras currently available that I've used, especially considering its price point, which at the time of this review was about £189. For me, the only thing that really lets it down is its slightly bulky shape and the suction mount, which takes up a lot of room on the windscreen. However, with the included adhesive mount, this drastically reduces the amount of space needed, and it makes for a much more compact unit. The smartphone app is fully featured and is very easy to use. It makes setting up the camera a breeze, and the ability to watch your footage straight after you've recorded it is really good. And a slight disappointment is the implementation of the YouTube upload. It uploads only at 568 by 320. I can see why they've done this to speed up the upload times, but it would have been nice to have been given a choice if I wanted 1080 or not. Hopefully they can address this in a firmware update later on. The WF1 certainly has some stiff competition in the dashcam market. Dashcams are becoming more popular in the UK especially, and all over the world. There's some other great cameras around from different manufacturers, but the Vico holds its own with some brilliant features. If you're looking for a cheap but fully functional dash camera, then the Vico is definitely worth a look. It doesn't have GPS, but the image quality more than makes up for it, and it has some unique features that make it stand out from the crowd. If you'd like to buy the VicoVation WF1, I've put a link in the description below. Also, if you want to see any more footage, please check out my channel. If you subscribe, you get all the latest updates sent directly to you. Also, if you'd like to see any more footage from the Vico WF1, I've put some files on my website. The links are in the description below.